Hello and welcome to the Closer's Playbook, a podcast about selling your services as a freelancer. I'm Pete Beber, here with my co-host Tyler Poole. We're having a conversation about a recent customer scenario that you just ran through, and we thought this would be a really good one to talk about with y'all about kind of the power of no, telling your customers no. So Tyler, if you could kind of set the scene for us.
Sure. So I had met this customer through one of my cold email magnets. Didn't know much about his business, got him on the phone, and we were talking through the conversation, what he needed, what I could help him with. And at one point he had said, I'm not making any money. I'm trying this, 7 different things. And I told him flat out, I'm like, you don't need my help right now. I said,
yeah, did he come in telling you this is what I think I need?
Yeah, he had. I had contacted him about SEO services, and when he had responded back to my email, he had said he wanted SEO and he wanted help with his YouTube channel and yada yada.
And so one of the things we've talked about a lot is understanding your customer's business. It sounds like you started to dig into that a little bit. I guess, what did he tell you initially? You said that he wasn't making money and he wanted to do SEO services. So how did you respond to that?
Well, we were talking about, initially I was just trying to qualify him. So what he does, what he sells, what his business is formed around, where most of his customers are from. And at some point during that, I don't remember exactly,
Sure.
Where, but he goes, the thing that I thought was so cool and where we got to this no was he was talking to me about how he's not making any money and he's trying, he named off a bunch of different platforms. He named off Pinterest, obviously SEO. He asked me about his YouTube channel. And I had told him at that time, he was doing paid ads as well. And I had told him, I'm like, you don't need to work with me. SEO and YouTube are both long play strategies. They're great if you're making a little bit of money and you have the money to invest back in your business. Okay. But I straight out told him, I'm not your guy if you're not making any money.
So it sounds like you did a lot of really good things there. You were looking to make sure you could work with him because what happens if your services cost too much and he's
Sure.
out of business? You lose a customer and he loses his business.
Sure.
You look to understand,
Mm-hmm.
which is really key, right? Because a lot of people just want to give their price out.
Yep.
They're not looking to understand the business. And so that can leave a customer unsure about mm-hmm. how the relationship might go if they mm-hmm. do hire you. And then you were looking out for his best interest, right? You said, hey, no, and this is why no. So I thought those were all really good points.
And something we've talked about numerous times is it's no good to get a customer that doesn't match with what you can sell and what you can offer, because a month down the road, 2 months down the road, it's not going to work out. It's going to be a bad experience for both of you.
And you have a reputation.
Sure.
You want to keep a good reputation.
Right.
And so by getting into services that are not the right fit for your customer, that's going to be a bad reputation, right? That's going to leave them with a bad taste in their mouth. That might lead to bad reviews. What you want is a good reputation, good relationship with your clients. When you have a good relationship and you understand their business and you're helping them move forward, you can continue to do business with that customer, and they're much more likely to refer you to other people they know who run businesses.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was, with what generated this podcast episode was I was talking to Pete on the phone after I eventually closed this customer on the call that day. And I had told him, how cool was it that I told this guy not to work with me?
Yeah. So how did he respond when you told him that?
As soon as I said it, he goes, oh, no. I'm making some money. And so right there, I got a little bit more information about his business. He actually told me his financials for the last 3 months to prove that he was in the black.
That's really important to understand too, right? You have a customer who just told you they actually do have the capacity to pay you because they're making money. That's important. You don't want a customer who doesn't have any money. Also, he trusted you with that information. So you'd earned enough trust to get a little bit more. And that's some pretty key information that a lot of people don't want to give up, mm-hmm. right? So you immediately started to earn trust by asking those questions, by taking a sincere look at your offerings and what they needed at that point in time. So, all right. So he immediately started to say, no, wait a second. I do have money coming in.
Right.
We'll take it from there.
From there, it was more about deciding what services I was actually going to sell him. And he had a YouTube channel that was really underdone and really wasn't worth focusing on. I do work on YouTube, but it's not one of my specialties.
So I'll tell you where I'm trying to get,
Okay,
right? So initially customers or people always want to know what's your price. Mm-hmm. Okay. You just told him no.
Right.
And now he's trying to tell you, wait a second. No. I do need to work with somebody on long term. Mm-hmm. How did that affect the pricing conversation for you? Sure.
So after he told me his financials, we started to narrow down what services we were actually going to. Because he did ask me, he's like, so how much would you charge? And he was talking about an hourly rate. And at that point, we started to whittle down what services I was actually going to provide him. And that's where YouTube came up. That's where we settled on SEO.
And these are you staying in your wheelhouse. Right. So I think that's really important is there's a saying in sales, sell what's in your bag. Yeah. Right. That means here's what I'm really good at. I'm not going to try to sell you something outside of that because that's going to leave me with egg on my face, essentially, right? And if you do a really good job with what you have in your bag today, it doesn't mean you can't add other things later. You're going to continue. You've talked a lot about taking courses to get better at the things that you're already doing, as well as to expand your knowledge base into other related areas so that you can offer more services to your customers, right? So I think it's really important that you focused on here's what I can help you with.
Right.
Yeah. And so on the pricing
that, we've talked about 100 times. Yeah. And as 5 years ago when I started, that's not something I ever wanted to do. I wanted to quote unquote get them to yes as quick as possible. Yeah. And guess how many no's I got?
You're going to go through a lot of no's, right. but that's okay because if you're the one saying no, then you can feel confident the times you say yes, right? Because you want to work with the right people and they want to work with the right people for them. Right. So everyone wants to get that sale. It's hard to not go after a sale, but if it's not the right fit, it's going to take you away from working with the ones that are.
Right.
So on the pricing standpoint now, usually it's like, hey, here's this hourly rate. You understand a little bit more about his business now, right? Financials. Yep. It sounds like you understand what the business issue is. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you can understand what your services can do to help move him towards that goal. And improving his business. So from there, how did the pricing? You closed the deal on the call, right? Mm-hmm. So walk us through. You've talked about the services that you could provide, and then how did the pricing conversation go?
Sure. And something you just touched on that you glided over a little bit, but was in our last episode we talked about foundations and getting back to I want to only sell SEO versus these other things that he was asking me about. Was one of the things that really helped sell this call because I said I can help you with X.
Perfect.
But anyway, so once we got to that point, I had asked him. I think I had asked him what his budget, if he had a planned budget, and he threw out a number, which was honestly more than what I was going to propose.
So you did a really good thing there too, right? Asking what his budget was. What did he even have in mind and what did he have the capacity to pay for? You've already set the stages, right? I'm looking to understand your business. I want to make sure I'm the right person. By the way, I'm going to stay within my lanes, right? And into what I can do. So he's got more certainty that working with you is going to go a certain way. Right? Okay, this guy isn't trying to test new things out on me. This guy isn't, giving me BS. He's saying, here's what I can help you with based on how I understand your business today. Right? So he threw out a number that was actually higher. I think that's one thing we hear a lot, especially in freelance, right? Yeah. Is like, you have to raise your prices, right? Well, how do I raise my prices? Well, not publishing your prices can be a really good thing because sometimes we value our services to what we think we might pay.
Sure.
But other people might pay a lot more for those services. So it sounds like this guy had a higher number in mind when he threw that number out.
Yeah, probably. And the nice part was I was able to get a number that was higher than what I was looking for, but probably lower than what he expected, or something else I learned through the conversation, especially after I had told him I wasn't the guy. He said something along the lines of, my last SEO company did blank, blank, blank. And so I know that whatever his last SEO company was doing, number one, I know they were charging more than I was. Number two, I know they didn't do what they were promising. They overpromised. They said they could do web services, whatever else. And so that was part of the thing. When I said no, he was like, oh, this guy will actually tell me what I can actually do.
Yeah, he's been burned, so trust is an issue. So that happens a lot. We've all been burned, right? And we've all, it could be getting, an estimate on mowing your lawn or replacing your roof or on a car or whatever, right?
Especially cars.
Especially cars. So you understand that that's happened to everyone. So when you go in to a new customer, know that they already have trust issues. Okay, we all do to a degree, and so you need to make sure that you're addressing that. We don't want to assume a lot, but just assume that you haven't earned trust with this person yet, and you need to do some things to do that. You walked through the things that this person needed to earn trust, to earn his trust, and so you've gone through the steps of understanding their business. To a degree more than you even thought going into it, right? To the financials, understanding how he's been burned in the past by people in your space, demonstrating that your competencies and are going to stay within those. Those are fantastic ways to start a relationship with a new customer, right? And so, you ended this call with a customer with a new customer from prospect to customer,
right?
And it felt real good, right?
And all because I was willing to say no. Because I put him in. I flipped the script on him, essentially. Yeah. So many of these calls are, as a freelancer, especially as a freelancer who's starting the sales process, who doesn't have a book of clients. I've gone through it myself, where I get on a call thinking I have to close that call. Mm-hmm. Like, I need this business. And for me to walk into a call and say, I'm not your guy, I'm not the person you should be working with, was, number one, it's a pretty cool feeling. And number two, it helped to distinguish myself from all the other freelancers, he probably, who knows how many other people he talked to before me. I know he's talking to sales reps, about advertising, about whatever other, and how many of them are doing that?
Well, and you've just set a bar now, right? And you've said, hey, this is how I operate. And he's by giving you his business, he said, this is how I like to operate. Mm-hmm. And so he's going to have a different expectation of the next people that he works with, related to your space in other areas, right? So I wanted to touch on one thing. I raised the bar. So one thing I wanted to touch on is, you said, like, you want to close that deal, every deal, like on the calls, right? Sometimes we need to slow down to go fast. Yeah,
I think that's maybe a good next episode, because we've had this conversation too about not giving them a price on the phone, and not sending them a proposal. And this one kind of happened organically. He pushed the issue and then proposed the price. And this is definitely a podcast we'll do more on, because pricing is a huge issue. But I wouldn't have given my price on the phone. I would have sent a proposal afterwards. But yeah, if the opportunity's there,
it sounds like you read the room.
I tried.
Right. Yeah,
I tried. I'm not saying I did perfectly by any stretch of the imagination. This one worked out in my favor. I promise we will do calls in the future, episodes in the future where I don't get the call, because those happen quite often too.
They do. So I think some things that we learned today is it's also easier to say no when you understand the customer's business and the business issue that they're looking to you to solve. So you did that. Understanding, do they have the capacity to pay? What are they going to be like to work with? And being very clear with what you can provide them. You didn't give a price, and you ended up earning more than what you thought going in. So yeah, when it's not just say no, and it'll happen. You did a lot to understand,
Sure.
and you got to a place where that no was sincere with the information that you had.
Sure. But it is okay to say no, and it's important to have that confidence and the comfort that there will be more sales calls, and if this isn't the right thing, it is perfectly okay to say no. And sometimes it puts you in a better position to negotiate not only the price, but to dig up more information and to figure out, the customer's not going to get on the phone and open his books and tell you everything. And so sometimes saying no is the best way to advance the conversation.
Yep.
So.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a great place to close. So I hope this was valuable for you. And if it was, we're going to continue to do episodes like this. So make sure you come back, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.